Hello and welcome to Cranky Gamers, the show where we take your normal everyday gamers, toss them into our unique grapple pit, and fight over a chosen subject. I'm your host Kid Dogg and welcome back to the show. And again, joining me this week, we've got him back from Scotland. He's the brother from Weeds. Here's Jason.
Hey, what's up people?
And no Arnie impression to crack me up this week.
Ow!
Spoke too soon. And we finally got him back. He's been missing since show 1. We've got him back for show 3. He's the master sniper of Gears of War. Here's Dorkfish.
Hey.
Welcome back, Dork. Alright, we're going to kick off the show this week with what we've been playing. And mainly this week, I've been playing Civilization 3, which is probably going to get me a kick in from some of our other guests, but I can't help myself. This game steals hours of my life, and I know I shouldn't play it, but Civ 3, man, all the way. So, Jason, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing a bit of, well, mostly actually the past couple of days I've been playing some GRAW 2, which is, of course, Ghost Recon, Advanced Warfighter 2. And it's probably the first Ghost Recon game I've actually ever bought, and I wasn't really expecting too much, but oh my god, is it a great game. It is phenomenal. It's just such a realistic, I mean, it's not quite Gears, I mean, it's a very slow-paced tactical shooter, but it's more rewarding in that sense, because you kind of have to think about what you're doing, and like take it like one step at a time. But yeah, it's a great game.
Alright, Jason, Dork, what have you been playing this week then?
Not anything really, but when I do have time to play something, I've been playing Guitar Hero 2. You've been trying to get all 5 stars on Expert, and that's gonna kill me, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a good job Toz is AWOL this week, otherwise you would be getting another Guitar Hero rant. We'll hear from Toz later in this show. Alright, moving on to our news. Well, here's one that's gonna get us all cranky and probably some of your jaws on the floor. A limited edition Simpsons Xbox was sold on eBay this week for over $4,000. So guys, how do you feel about picking up a limited edition Simpsons Xbox for over $4,000?
No, thank you.
Well, it looks better than the Halo console.
Anything looks better than the Halo console, but
it does actually.
It's true.
Having Homer peering at you, I mean, that's got to be a diehard fan there that's going to pick up a console for over $4,000.
Is it just like a premium, or is it an?
I think it's like the Halo console. I think it has. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't even. Come on, I mean, let's be realistic here. It doesn't matter. I mean, this, for $4,000, that's like an arm and a leg, and in American dollars, that's like what? That's about $8,000, maybe $9,000, you know, cash in hand.
No, it was $4,000. It was $4,000 that it sold for. So.
$4,000. Okay, so that's about what? About $2,500 then. Over here. But Jesus, I mean, no console's worth that amount of money. I mean, I could buy a top-of-the-range, like, sports car for that, you know, second-hand. I mean, Jesus, that's just, I mean, whoever paid for that has got more money than absolute sense. Seriously.
I don't know. No, £4,000 for a console, I don't know, maybe Sony will be trying to push that with its PS4.
I don't even like The Simpsons that much, so it's definitely not worth $4,000 for me.
I mean, who is picking that up? Is it a Simpsons fan? Is it an Xbox fan? I mean, $4,000, come on.
Well, put it this way. Even if it was gold-plated and it had a limited edition, like, glowing light that shone out of it every time you turned it on, I still wouldn't pay $4,000 for it, mate. Telling you. No chance. No, not on your Nelly.
Yeah, I think it is just madness. I should point out that it is one of only 100 ever made, but I'm still not sure that $4,000 justifies you buying a console, and let's hope that whoever was lucky enough to win the bid there doesn't experience the red rings of death.
Don't forget, mate, those 100 people who actually bought these systems will probably break down within the year anyway, and of course, as Microsoft already announced, they've more or less said that every Xbox 360 is faulty anyway, and it's going to break down with the 3 rings of death. So, I mean, there's not much that you can really be said there, so it's pretty much, unless someone just keeps it and admires it in a case and like, oh, it's wonderful, or if they play it, it's just, you know, it's just a big piece, it's just one big heavy paperweight, like every other, like PS3 you've got out there anyway. Sorry about that, but you know, it's true.
Again, we can't resist kicking the PS3 when it's down. Alright, moving on, seeing as we've, well, basically called the person sad whoever bought that console. Here's great news for all you DS owners. Viva Pinata is heading to the DS. Oh joy.
Kill me.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled at the news that Viva Pinata is heading over to the DS then.
Is Microsoft still, like, publishing it then?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's just another way of making money. I think they're probably still trying to make the money back on it.
Well, apparently they've actually cancelled all the online content for the game because it didn't sell too well, obviously, because, I mean, it's the game itself, it doesn't really suit, you know, the Xbox. It just isn't that type of game. And that's obvious, and of course all the people who actually bought the game are going to be completely disappointed because they're not going to get all that content that was promised to begin with. So when you look at it from that point of view, it's like, you know, on the DS, it's like what is the point? I mean, okay, it probably will sell a bit better on the DS, being a more kind of family system, and it's obviously it's got a bigger range of people that are playing the thing, but I can't really see it being a big seller, to be quite honest.
Yeah, Pinata does seem more of a DS style game than a 360 game.
It is, yeah.
I think the DS, the stylus and stuff, I think that'll it'll control better with that than it would with a 360 controller. I'm not sure why. It just seems like it would.
I think it's probably going to find a market on the DS, isn't it?
It could be, but I mean, if they implement a really nice, easy, user-friendly system, we're using the stylus, and it's a touch screen, and you can maybe, like the top screen's obviously for everything that's happening there, and the bottom screen you could use it for maybe like dragging across items and being able to lay out certain things, and that would be quite quite intuitive. But at the same time, it's like Viva Pinata. I can't really see them doing like the full game on the DS. I mean, I'm not kicking the DS. I mean, I've got a DS myself, and it's a great console. But if you actually played it on the Xbox, it's a massive game, and for them to replicate that on a DS, it's going to be one hell of a job.
Well, I say those people at Rare should be thoroughly ashamed of themselves for making that game. I mean, come on, Rare. You were the guys that brought us GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and now you're bringing us Viva Pinata and Viva Pinata Party Animals. Guys, get your act together, come on.
Give us Donkey Kong 64 2 and give us a new bloody Conker game, for sake. Sorry, but that's just the bottom line that I've got, because I'm a big Rare fan and I'm disappointed with the past couple. And Perfect Dark Zero, quite frankly, was terrible. It was above average, below average, and no, come on, Rare, give us something new, give us something more like what you're used to doing, come on.
Yes, I think we can all say that Rare has gone shit since Microsoft bought them. Alright, we'll move on, away from Viva Pinata, as far away from the party animals as you can get. It was announced that this week Halo 3 is going to have 4-player co-op online, so, guys, is that good news? Are you happy about that?
Hey, yes indeed.
Absolutely. Great news.
I mean, in this day and age, I think it's fair to say that if you're going to do an FPS, you are going to have a co-op mode, especially an online co-op mode, because I think most of the shooters now do them, so you're going to have to do it, weren't they?
Well, put it this way, right? Halo 2, back in the day, we all expected, in fact, Bungie said it themselves that they were supposedly meant to have, a 4-player co-op online for the game, and of course it was canned about halfway through development. And now that they've actually doing it, and I'm still a bit skeptical whether they're going to pull it off properly, especially with latency and all. And of course, apparently they're doing some sort of system where you actually, when you join a server, you can't hop into it at any time, so that you have to be, it's got that balance so that no one can just hop into your game at any time. But at the same time, it's great that we do have it, but it's a bit. It's a bit long time coming, but it's a good addition, because it means that it will extend the game's longevity.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I think it's now a must for any first-person shooter or just about any game now to have an online co-op mode. They do seem to be a standard now, and it's all down to the way they implement them. I should imagine with Halo that there will be dedicated servers for the Halo game if it sells that well. I'm still not. I don't think Halo 3 is going to be doing as well as they think it is. I do admit the hardcore Halo fans will probably be going out in droves to buy it, but with the likes of Call of Duty 4 and Mass Effect coming out, and Bioshock as well, it's going to be eating into the sales of Halo 3, I'm sure. Because, I mean, I've played Halo, I've played Halo 2, I haven't finished either game, to be honest, the campaign mode. And Halo 2, the online, really did almost put me off Xbox Live altogether, but I think it's one we'll all pick up in the end, but with the likes of Call of Duty 4 and Mass Effect out there, it's going to have a hard time. I really do think it will be having an absolute hard time.
Truth be told, it's probably going to struggle. I mean, the first couple of weeks when it's actually released, it's probably going to be doing pretty steady. It's going to sell, probably get over the 1 million mark within probably about its first month. But I think Call of Duty 4 is like the Halo killer for this year.
Alright then, let's talk. Dork, you are the big Call of Duty fan, so here's your choice. You can have one or the other. Halo 3 or Call of Duty 4. What would you go for?
Oh, man. Halo 3.
You would go for Halo 3 over Call of Duty 4?
Yeah, I want to finish the story really, really bad. I really don't care that much about the multiplayer for Halo 3. I just want to, beat the game, find out what happens to Master Chief and Earth, and
finish the fight.
Yeah, well, there's now rumours floating around that they're going to kill Master Chief off now, so...
Way.
As long as they don't show his face, I'm fine.
But what if, right? What if it turns out that he's actually a girl? Wouldn't that be a shocker? And he takes hormones to deepen his voice. He takes hormones to deepen his voice. Just imagine that. It's like at the very end, like the last 20 seconds of the cutscene, like at the very end of like the whole thing after, like the massive, like the whole war just totally went haywire, and his helmet, it just comes off and it's like, "Hi, I'm a girl." Wouldn't that be terrible?
Yeah, it's actually the helmet deepening his voice. It's got a voice synthesizer, so he sounds like this.
Darth Vader. On you.
I think the Halo 3 fanboys are going to be giving us a kick in for that one, but hey, sod it. Can't poke fun, then why not? Alright, moving on away from Halo 3, EA have released their Q1 reports, and they're probably quite grateful for the Harry Potter game because they have made an absolute sackload of money, but is anybody surprised at that? I think they made $395 million. So guys, how do you feel about EA just raking in the bank, as usual?
Well, good luck to them. I mean, EA, pretty much every year, they have about 20 different titles, which is basically slight upgrades of previous titles, which are just essentially cash-ins, so that, you know, I mean, they're really lazy, that's where they are. I mean, and they only bring out maybe like 2 or 3 games every year that are actually worth buying, and the rest are just, you know, bargain bin stuff. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I found they had, I think, like one of the head guys at EA on G4 during E3, they're talking to him, and he was talking about like how he hates how game companies are putting out, you know, the same games every year and stuff like that, and the EA's the only one that's doing something different. You're like, oh man, I was laughing so hard. That is,
yeah, that's a sheer comedy gold moment there. Yeah, guy from EA says, yeah, these game companies they keep tossing out the same old damn stuff again and again. EA, we do stuff different.
What a bunch of bloody hypocrites! I'm telling you, that is unbelievable.
Yeah. What a load of bollocks that is. Oh, I mean, I swear if it wasn't for the EA Sports division, they would be making a hell of a lot less money. Because, alright, yeah, they have the official rights to the NFL, and FIFA, they have Major League Baseball, they have the basketball as well, don't they, in America, and the ice hockey. You know, if it wasn't for the sports division, I think EA would not be making nearly as much money as they are.
It'd be absolutely crippled, mate.
Can anyone actually think of the last good EA game that wasn't a sports game?
Beyond Good and Evil, easily. That was our last game, and that was like, what, 2 years ago?
A bit more than that, I think. You're talking 4.
EA Sports game?
I said last good, not EA Sports game.
Oh. Goodness, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they had the perfect opportunity with The Godfather to make a really great game, and by all accounts the Wii version is fantastic, but the other version's terrible. And they had an opportunity there to even bury Grand Theft Auto with The Godfather, but they screwed that up, so...
Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth wasn't that bad.
Lord of the Rings, that was pretty good. I mean, I would say Return of the King was probably, like, what obviously been the last one. That was only because, obviously, it had a 4-player... Yeah, was it 4-player? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like 4-player co-op, and that was quite fun because it had a lot of the in-game movie stuff that you were able to sort of participate in, which was a lot of fun. But a very short game, and it wasn't that difficult. But again, you know, some movie titles from me, like Lord of the Rings, have been quite good. But again, still pretty, you know, by the numbers, you know, many core stuff that we've already played 20 times already, just in a different, you know, coating. But yeah, EA is pretty straightforward with this. I mean, to me, EA, they just don't really care anymore. They just really want the money, and that's it, and all the publicity. That's all they want, really.
Yeah. What do they have this year coming out that's not sports related?
Good question, mate. We have no idea.
Do they make Medal of Honor?
Yeah, they've got Medal of Honor.
Well, it's not in house. It's definitely not in house. I mean, essentially, they just fund the project. They just basically say, here's a couple of $1 million. You know, go away and make the game. That's it. So thankfully, it's not been made in house, because if it was, it would be an absolute atrocious game.
Well, you can tell it's not made by EA. There's innovation in it. You know, the parachute drop at the start. It's pure sign that it's not EA doing it.
They're making some other game too. I can't remember. It's co-op. I can't think of the name right now, but
Army of Two, is it?
Yeah. Army of Two. That's it.
Oh yeah, that looks brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, those are only 2 games that from EA's side of things that I'm actually interested in. Obviously from E3, but yeah, that's.
Well, it's, you know, all they need to put out every year is Madden, and you know they'll make hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, Madden and FIFA. I mean, those two must have been keeping that company going for quite some time.
Madden with some new strips, some newer graphics, better frame rate, some online support, and hey, millions of dollars once again.
Well, yeah, they're now touting the fact that they've boosted up the Madden series and the FIFA series up to 60 frames.
Ah yes, progressive scan. It's the future. The future.
Last year they had a collector's edition Madden. How do you make a collector's edition of a sports game? What do you put in there? I mean, there's no story to, you know, elaborate on. There's nothing.
Maybe it's a little bitchy note to 2K Games, 2K Sports, going, ha ha, we've got this franchise, you haven't.
Or maybe, get this right, maybe the special bonus disc that you get inside, man, is just like you put it in your DVD player, and it's essentially just like a big massive like slideshow of all the ugly guys that make the game. It's like, hi there, I make NFL Man 2008. It's like, and that's it. I paid like how much? Like $20 for this piece of crap. Oh, I'm just taking it back. Screw that.
Well, limited editions is a topic we could go on for hours about. I mean, Halo 3 with the cat helmet.
Although, be fair, they may actually have some in early demos of their ball physics and showing how complex it is and how many different little iridicities within the ball and the movement with the bump mapping in the ground. It's like, oh yes, it's like 20 hours, it's like over 20 hours of bonus footage of our in-game ball physics. How amazing is that?
You said balls. All right, let's walk away from EA, otherwise we'll be here all day. Found on the BBC News website, crackdown on US mod chip sales. US Customs has carried out raids in 16 states to clamp down on the sale of modified or mod chips to the PlayStation 2, Nintendo Wii, Xbox and Xbox 360 game consoles. Do we really care?
Not really. If, by chance, that it's maybe something like, I don't know, like international, so that you can actually play American, British games on your Japanese system or, British, because some games don't get released in certain countries, obviously maybe just because it's maybe some sort of localization thing, which is really, really annoying. Hello, stop doing it. You've been doing it for the past 10 years. This is the next generation system, and I do not want to have all this rubbish where you have to import a game and you cannot play it on your system with this lockout. I can't be bothered with that. It's a waste of time. Please stop it now.
Hasn't the DS and the PSP got rid of their region lock?
Yes, but handhelds have been doing that since the dawn of time, mate. I mean, you had the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Color even had that. It's just because its cartridge format is a lot easier to get away from. When it's disc, it's a whole different ballgame.
It does seem to be a bit of a con, really. It just seems a way of keeping the market separate, which is bloody stupid.
It's a con. I mean, every company does it. I mean, okay, Sony had the whole chip thing with the PS1, PS2, which was easier to do, but you still had to pay, what, 50 quid back in the day just to get your damn console chipped. And then it's okay, the games are 10 quid, but still, come on, I mean, not everybody's got that kind of money to just throw around as if it's like coming out of their arse. I mean, seriously.
And of course, if it goes wrong, you just brick your system, haven't you? You've totaled your system.
Yeah, exactly. You totally mangle your system, which you've just paid how much? Well, 300 quid for. Thank you very much.
Well, I know during the development of the 360, Microsoft did actually have a look at what people were doing with the modded Xboxes, and that's why we have the video and picture playback system. Alright, they weren't going to do what the main thing with your chipped Xbox was, copying games to the hard drive. I mean, they weren't going to do that, but it'd be nice. Maybe that, mind you, then again, that's what they're probably trying to do with the downloadable games, which will be, well, starting off with Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider Anniversary thing, which, just give that to me on retail, please. I don't want to download it.
Well, I mean, realistically, if they just, okay, I'm not really bothered about all this crap with all this modding chip rubbish. If they just bring out, because, with the whole online thing where you've got downloadable content, just give us an update where it allows us to fix the bloody problem with this whole bloody, international lockout so that we can play games from all regions. We don't have all this rubbish where we have to import and buy some separate disc which will come out in the next year or two, where it costs us like 30 quid just to play a game. And you have to put the disc in, wait 5 minutes, take it out, and oh, the game works. And half the time, it just buggers up anyway. So yeah, please fix that.
Yeah, hang on, before we move on, this is the best bit. I'm looking at the news article right now on BBC, and a little bit towards the bottom it says, illicit devices, and here it goes. Illicit devices like the ones targeted today were created with one purpose in mind, subverting copyright protection, said Julian L. Myers, Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security. So great, now Homeland Security haven't got anything better to do apart from track down mod chippers. So instead of going after the terrorists, they're going after mod chippers.
Oh, get a life, boys, seriously. Oh, Jesus.
I mean, come on, what's Homeland Security doing? Are they just, do you reckon they're training themselves up on Rainbow Six and Graw and maybe a bit of Gears as well?
That and a couple of biscuits and some cups of coffee, eh? Keeping them awake, eh? Playing all that all night, eh? Oh, a bunch of sad...
Well, according to figures released by the ICE, counterfeiting and piracy cost the US up to $250 billion every year. That's $125 billion UK. So
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what it says. I mean, if you go to BBC News Technology and type in "crackdown on US mod chips," you can see for yourself. I mean, I do remember hearing a while back. I think it was on possibly the Gaming Steve podcast. One of the things that hurt the GameCube was the fact that the games couldn't be pirated as easily because they were using the smaller CD DVD format. So
yeah, the 4-inch discs. Yeah, that's right. But that was obviously, that was meant to happen because, of course, they want to avoid the piracy after what happened with the PS1. So it was quite a progressive thing that they did, and of course it worked. But at the same time, I guess a lot of people didn't bother with the GameCube, obviously, because of that. Because they I can't chip my console anymore. I can't do it with this, and I'll just stick with the PS2 and rate that for about another 2 years and steal about 100 games off of that, and whatever. But obviously, I couldn't really care because half the games on the PS2 were pretty crap. Anyway, sorry that not to hammer the people, but it's safe to say that modding has damaged the gaming community to a degree.
Yeah, piracy is an issue I don't think that's ever going to go away, and I'll be talking a bit about piracy later on in the show. All right, moving on. Out this week on the Xbox Live Arcade, we have Marathon. So, guys, what did you think to the arrival of Marathon Duala? Is it on the Xbox Live Arcade?
Made me dizzy, very dizzy.
Made you dizzy. We got very lost.
Slightly nauseous. I think I almost had the seizure once when you're like halfway down that corridor with all the flashing lights. I wasn't quite sure what that was. Something trippy, like like one of those drug trips that you go on. It was very odd, with the textures sort of going all wacky and things. But other than that, it was like a Doom clone, more or less. Just like go from point A to point B, pick up a gun, kill some monsters, and kill some more. Flip a switch. And that's about it, really.
Find the key cards and so forth and so forth. Actually, I have to admit, I actually got lost on the map and got stuck, and I just turned it off and went, well, sod this then.
Yeah, it's basically, at the end of the day, it's a clone. That's what it is. We're clones.
Yes. Alright then, so, not impressed with Marathon. Okay, and I suppose the good news is that Bioshock has announced that the Bioshock guys have announced that we're going to get a demo in a couple of weeks, so, we excited about a Bioshock demo?
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. Hopefully, they'll be releasing a demo to the whole world, not just the US.
I bloody hope they do. If they don't, I'll be knocking on their doors. As I'm fed up with all this. I mean, if Bioshock does it with this, okay, sorry, mate. I know that you're from America, but if it happens with the Bioshock demo, this would be like the 5th or 6th game that's actually done this yet again. I mean, come on. I mean, it's not hard just to put a bit of software which is already localized because we all speak the same friggin' language. Just put it on Xbox Live. We pay $40 a year, which is of course 40 quid to you guys. It's like what, $80. But yeah, it's a lot of money, and we pay for this content which we're just not getting. And we as the customer are entitled to it. Just give us the bloody stuff and stop bitching about it.
Yeah, to all our American listeners, if you haven't heard last week's show, check out last week's show and see why we get a bit fed up of paying so much for Xbox Live when we get so little. I mean, as Toz said last week, the whole point of a demo is a company trying to make you buy their game, and by not releasing demos to the wider population outside, not just the United States. I mean, Japan gets Japan-only demos, and we probably would like to have a look at them. All right, there's a bit more issue of work involved there with language and everything, but the whole point of a demo is basically to make me buy the game.
Essentially, by putting restrictions on demos, you're essentially narrowing your audience's gap. So, and of course that leads to very poor sales for certain titles, which of course companies hope to sell, and of course if it is a good game, then too bad, because you have put the demo out to other countries, then, you basically just said, hello, come over and just kick me in the pants, because that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, isn't a thought. Do you think we'll see a Halo 3 demo, or do you reckon they're just not going to bother because it's Halo?
It's Halo. It'll sell by the bucket load, and yeah, they won't bother with demo. Why? Because I mean, we've already had the beta, so why would they need to have a demo?
Good point. I suppose you could make a point that the beta was the demo as well. So, do we have anything else to moan about in the news, or shall we move on?
Well, we could talk about the Call of Duty 4 beta, but
Tell me! What is it you do? Tell me the Call of Duty 4 now! You gotta tell me!
Now, I'd like to say that Toz isn't with us this week. He's gone to watch the football. But I know his rant's going to be about the Call of Duty 4 beta, and I think we'll talk about it, and you can hear Toz's rant on it as well later. I am incredibly off if this does not come to the UK. I mean, come on, guys. It's a gorgeous looking game. You've got English soldiers in. Give us some love. Infinity Ward, what are you playing at? Well, Dork, I mean, come on, you must be happy at the fact that you can at least get the opportunity to go into the beta.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make me sad or anything, but it doesn't make any sense that they can't do it for Europe.
It does seem annoying. I mean, they haven't ruled it out. They do say that they might be rolling it out to other markets, but at the moment it's just going to start in the US.
Yeah, but they should have announced that at first instead of, just saying it was coming out in the US and having everybody, freak out.
But what is even more stupid is that, the Call of Duty series is absolutely massive in this country, as it is in America, and okay, maybe not so much Japan, but yeah, and I mean, it's just as big over in America as it is over here in the United Kingdom, and yet we still have this problem where, a lot of really well, established franchises get the kick in the pants, and we don't get it over here, or we're going to get the game eventually, but, we want to play the demo, and what's so hard about bringing over a demo? Obviously, I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I'm still annoyed at the fact that we have a huge franchise. I mean, you couldn't get any bigger than the Call of Duty series. I mean, Call of Duty 3, may have not been the best in the series, as of course Call of Duty 2 was by far the best in the series. But Call of Duty 3 sold absolutely loads in this country. It was like in the top 10 charts for God knows how many months, and it was a big top seller. And yet we still have all these problems where it's going to be American only for God knows how long, probably forever. But hey, that's the way things go.
Do get the feeling that we're going to get more and more of these problems with demos and betas just not coming over here, and it is a real big pain in the arse, and it is going to become a bigger problem because now the gaming community, when you think about it, all right, Dork, my fellow co-host Dork, he lives in America, Jason's up in Scotland, I'm in the UK, I'm down in England, but the gaming community, that's not a problem with the live system, with the online multiplayer. There is no countries, we are all one nation of gamers in a sense, and to exclude a country from a beta or a demo is getting silly, and it's going to start annoying more and more people.
Hold on. When you buy an Xbox Live Gold, silver, but Xbox Live Gold, and you pay for a year, of that service, you as the customer are entitled to all the downloadable content and access of all the different features that it has to offer. Now, restricting someone of that is, I think, by law. I mean, if you look at I don't know what contract they kind of have under there by law. I mean, if you went on their website, they probably got some sort of information about that. But yeah, by law, you are entitled to that. So, what are they doing? I mean, because that is just unbelievable. It is illegal because you're paying all this money and you're not getting barely half of what, other countries are getting.
Again, see, like last week's show about our rant on live, but it is ridiculous. I mean, the other annoying thing is, for years and years on the PC, online multiplayer and downloadable content has always been free, or usually has been free. I know it's changed somewhat slightly over the years. I mean, your expansion packs and stuff, yeah. But maps and extra characters and stuff were usually free for the PC and online play. But all of a sudden we get, online play on your consoles, you got to pay for every little thing. It's starting to really chafe a lot.
And when you think about it, like for Gears, for example, like Gears of War, you still got that map pack where it's essentially still 800 points to buy the set of 4 or 5 maps. But at the same time, for every other game like Rainbow Six, of course, which have just recently made all their map packs free. But many other games like I don't know. I mean, there's about maybe 5 or 6 games that that all have downloadable content for maps and multiplayer modes, and yet they're still charging. And when you think about it, that separates the community right. The moment you do that, it just cuts your community right in half, and it really is unfair. I mean, okay, these people that make the maps, they put some effort into them, but still, when you pay for the game, you should, you as the gamer expect to be able to play all that is, on offer for the game, and yet but you still got to fork out more dosh, to just play a couple of maps.
Definitely, it is in essence getting shortchanged, and it's getting to a point where it's definitely going to become a larger and larger problem, and it's going to have to be addressed soon. I mean, I know for a fact that my Xbox Live is runs out in August, and right now, with the things where I'm not going to be, I can't afford to renew it, and I probably wouldn't want to renew it at the minute until I start seeing a few more changes. I'm fed up of, I'm really off at the fact that, in America you can get the Gundam Destiny Warriors game demo, but we can't here.
And don't forget about that free game that's American only, that was like a small in-house development team that made that little Aegis Wings, that's the one, yes, and that's a proper fully fleshed little game, and it looks really good, and yet it's a free game which is downloadable, and yet we can't get it over here.
Alright then, I suppose we'll move on. We'll leave the carcasses of the news stories behind, and we'll move on to our main topic this week, which is about Nintendo and their Wii and the direction they're taking with it, and how it's making us all feel. Now, as you know, Jason is from the Weeds podcast that does talk about the Wii a lot, and Dork owns a Wii. He's a very unhappy Wii owner last time I checked, and I have played the Wii on quite a few occasions. So guys, Nintendo and the Wii, what we're thinking. Is it a fad? Is it going to die off, or are they just going to become a little bit of a party console?
Well, let me step in here first and say something. I'm not I mean, okay, I may have been perceived as a fanboy on the Weeds podcast, but at the same time, I feel as if, I'm probably one of the very few people that do have a passion for Nintendo and, in general gaming, that actually could stand up and say that, that Nintendo have made some mistakes in the past, and they're doing it again, and I feel as if they've been a little bit overconfident, and I will admit that freely. But I think that at the moment, the direction that they're going in, I'm not too keen on it myself. But from what we can see, it is that there is a market for it, and they have been smart enough to pick up on that, which Microsoft are trying to do now. Which obviously they're trying to catch up with their whole party thing, with whatever they're trying to do with all their party games and stuff. But at the same time, we do have the hardcore games, which of course are absent, which of course Toz talked about in the previous episode. Are there? They're just they're either A, they're not very well publicised, and B, they're not. The majority of them aren't first-party titles.
Yeah, Nintendo seem to be going down the route of the peripherals and the casual games with the Wii Fit and along those lines. But they do seem to be leaving their hardcore gamers behind, and all the hardcore Nintendo games that we love and are waiting desperately for: Super Smash Brothers, Brawl, Mario Kart, Mario Galaxy. They've been promising them games since launch, and we're still waiting. And now, I don't own a Wii, but I do play it off and on with my friends. Alright, I think the most experience I've played Wii Sports, and I absolutely love the bowling. I played Zelda, which is an absolutely fantastic game, but was originally meant for the GameCube, not the Wii. And Red Steel, which was, I thought, appalling. So, I have a horrible feeling that if they're not careful, the Wii's going to do more damage to Nintendo than it is good. Alright, yeah, it's the #1 selling console of the minute, but the charm does wear off it. Great fun, I can wave my arms around, I'll control it with a Wiimote, it's motion sensitive, but sooner or later you're going to get tired of that. And not all the games are always going to work for it. I mean, they've got Mortal Kombat coming out for the Wii, and I'm kind of thinking a beat-em-up controlled by the Wii remote. I can see it working with Smash Brothers, but that's because it's in-house. But Midway, it's Mortal Kombat with the Wii remote?
Actually, steady on there, mate. I actually have the game, and it's already been released, which was about a month ago. Yeah, so just to correct you there, mate, and I can tell you now, it is fantastic. It is a brilliant game. Yes, I mean, I was very sceptical. In fact, I bought it just to check it out. In fact, I rented it first, and then I realised that it was a cracking game. Now, of course, control-wise, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it does work. It really does. In fact, if you watch some of the on GameSpot, some of the in-developer footage, you actually see, you can clearly see that they're putting the effort into. In fact, they spent a good year of the development just working on the controls themselves with the characters' combos and moves and how to sort it out. But it's probably the first fighter so far for the Wii, because obviously there's two, but it's definitely the fighter for the Wii, but that actually proves that beat 'em ups can work on with the Wiimote and Nunchuck. But to that degree, I don't think it'll work with Smash Brothers, and they've already said that they will not do Hudson. Yeah, is it Hudson? Yeah. Hudson have said that they will not do any Wii motion sensitive stuff, because simply that it's just the game's far too fast paced, and all the animations are all predetermined. So therefore, it's really it's literally impossible. It would take years and years and years and years of planning for it to make the Wiimote to its full potential to actually work with Wii motion sensitive control. So yeah, they're basically just going to have four different functions of control with the classic controller, your GameCube controller. The Wiimote and Nunchuck will work with Smash Brothers Brawl, but just in the classic sense, so that you're using the D-pad. You've got your left stick and you've got your A and B button. Yeah, like a normal controller. And the only thing that you will use for the Wiimote motion sensitive is that you just point in menus and you just point and click, for different setups for your multiplayer games or whatever. You just setting up, like choosing your character and whatever. That's all you do with the Wiimote. But yeah, there's 4 different methods, and that's what they're doing with it, and they're just keeping it stable, which is actually, I think, probably a very smart move. But yeah, I do agree that there are certain genres of games which really wouldn't work if it was to use the full capabilities of the Wiimote. It definitely wouldn't work. But at the same time, there are those that definitely would shine. And there are a few good games, Tim, but a few like Dragon Blade, Mushroom Commander, Battalion Wars 2, which are all going to be, Battalion Wars 2 in particular, which is going to be a fully fledged online game, 32 players, and it will be a phenomenal game. Because I don't know if anyone played the original one on the GameCube, but it was a really sadly missed game that people should have been out and bought. But yeah, definitely. I mean, the games are on the way for the Wii. It's just that they're very, very under spoken in terms of, like the press. There's very, very little known about them. It's just that they're very well under wraps. And yeah, Nintendo promised, Metro Prime 3 corruption. They promised, they promised Mario Galaxy. But at the same time, Nintendo's philosophy has and always will be, they'll get it out to the shelves when it's ready. And and even when they did announce it, back at E3, like 2 years ago, I expected them to have big delays. I expected this because, if they're going to make, the next Zelda game, whatever, or the next Mario game, the best it can be, then it's really got to put the time in. And, Nintendo's games take a long time. And that's just the way it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it just seems to be. Dork, I mean, I know you've got a Wii. I mean, what's your main gripe about the Wii?
Just games, I guess. The controller, really. I mean, it's just not as fun for me as using, like, a normal gamepad, like, after playing with the 360's controller and stuff. And, playing games that are on the 360, like, Call of Duty 3 on the Wii, it's just not as fun as I thought it would be. It kind of makes things frustrating and, a lot harder than they should be, when it shouldn't be. I mean, it just should be fun, using the controller like that, like the ultimate first-person shooting experience, but it's not. If I want to play a first-person shooter, I'm going to play it on my 360 rather than my Wii.
I mean, I can't criticise Nintendo for doing something different and trying to innovate. I mean, there's no way I'm going to criticise them for that. I mean, the concept behind the Wii is a great idea, but sometimes it does seem to wear thin with it. And to be honest, I mean, yes, the console's cheap, but once you buy 3 or 4 pads and some nunchucks, it soon adds up pretty quickly.
It does, yeah, it does.
And really, you have to have at least 2 people, playing on the Wii at the same time. That makes it a lot more fun.
That said, sorry, I just want to cut in there. Just a question to Dorkfish there. America already has, and I'm waiting for this actually. I'm actually quite in big anticipation for this game, Paper Mario, for the Nintendo Wii, and it's probably one of the highest. It's probably one of the best games out for the Wii right now, and yet I haven't. I mean, you're not even enticed, but even a little bit to sort of like your curiosity to to sort of go out and maybe buy it and check it out and see what it's like, because from most reviews, even on GameSpot, which are one of the hardest people to please, I mean, they gave it 8.8 or 8.9 out of 10, and they said it was definitely the best in the series, and it used the controls really well. I'm just wondering, maybe, like, what are your thoughts on that, mate?
Well, I haven't played it. I haven't bought a game for my Wii in forever, so I can't really comment on that. But is it like a new?
No, it's a brand new game. No, it's a totally brand new game, mate. But it's also in 3D as well, because it's got this mechanic where you switch from 2D to 3D. It's got this sort of puzzle element. You would have to sort of check it out on videos, but it's a really, really, really great idea they've got.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Obviously, Doug has no love for his Wii at the minute. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to criticise Nintendo for being innovating. It's definitely a mark that Nintendo has always done. I mean, they were the first to produce a light gun game back in the day with Duck Hunt many years ago, and I probably just made a lot of people feel old by mentioning Duck Hunt.
You think Nelson still breaks that out every now and then?
Well, to be honest with you, I have upstairs an old Meg Drive, which is the Genesis in America, I believe. I've got a NES, I've got a SNES. I've got some classic consoles upstairs from time to time that I do like to break out and still play.
Sorry to butt in there, but just speaking of the NES, it's funny you mentioned that, because I mean, at the moment, a lot of people are still sceptical and think that the Wii is indeed a fad, which I don't believe it is. But a lot of people, have their own opinions about it, and they do say that it is in fact a fad, and that it will die out fairly shortly after the whole crazes and the whole wow factor of it's gone. But if you look back to the days of the original Nintendo Entertainment System, I mean, when that first got released, most people thought, oh, this is just another fad, game, because it was one of the first proper gaming systems, and people thought this was going to die. It was just a big bit of candy knockoff. That was. It
was the first gaming system to come back after the whole games industry sort of crashed back in the 70s, and it was the first one to really make it really good.
That's right. Yeah. After it crumbled. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, most people thought, just a fad. It won't sell. Nothing will come of it. And yet, it was one of the fastest selling consoles even still today. And then the SNES came, and that even sold even more. And and that was an even larger success, than the NES, sort of software wise. And so, I mean, to me, the Wii is essentially almost like the NES. For that, just for that, fact alone, it kind of makes me think that that the same, it's going through the same sort of motions and no pun. So sorry, I didn't put that pun there, but it's going through the same sort of emotions, and eventually the Wii will, I mean, I think after the end of this year, I mean, once we get to Christmas, that's when I think like the majority of all the really good hardcore titles that we're going to see, proper games, will eventually surface, and then I think that's when hopefully people will start to realise that the Wii isn't actually as much of a fad as people thought, and it is here in fact, that it is in fact here to stay for quite some time.
I mean, yeah, I have been known to call the Wii a fad, and I've called it the Dreamcast of this generation. But I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And yes, there are the hardcore games coming out, but a lot of hardcore gamers are really disappointed with the Wii at the moment. And hopefully, when the new titles come along, that it will pick up and it'll get some more love. I mean, Nintendo have got a wealth of great games at their disposal, and I suppose it's what's not helping at the minute is just the wait for them. The Metroid, your Metroids and Mario Kart, because I do admit I would love to get my hands on Mario Kart. I was going to say, it seems where they seem to be going with the peripherals as well. I mean, the Wii Blaster, which is basically $20 20 quid for.
No, sorry, hold on. I have to butt in there, mate. The Wii Blaster, I think it's a great idea because it combines, both the controls, and it makes it into almost, like a gun in itself, and it just adds that bit more of immersion. But at the same time, you're not actually paying for it. It actually comes free, bundle free with Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles when that eventually gets surfaced on release date. I'm not sure there's no official release date for that game yet, but it was announced at E3 by Reggie. I mean, if you actually watch that little clip, he does say that the Wii Zapper will in fact be included in like this sort of package with the Medal of Honor game, which is exclusive to the Wii as well, and of course Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles. Yeah, so it's not they're not charging you for it.
You see, the thing with that is, I can play Medal of Honor on my 360, so for people that have a 360 and a Wii, I want to play Medal of Honor on my 360 because of Xbox Live, because the online play will be better.
Well, I don't know if you know, mate, but Medal of Honor for the Wii was announced that it will be 32-player online. And of course, Toz was saying, the latency issues, the Wii can't handle it, but it has been officially announced by EA, and it is going to happen, mate.
I'll just wrap up on the peripherals then. But we've got the Wii Fit Pad, which I can't decide if I like or not. The concept sounds fantastic, but is it going to be used for much more than just Wii Fit? Or are we going to start getting line dancing games now and stuff like that?
You never know. You might do. I mean, I think it's just a really good idea from a standpoint that, it's there to not only help you kind of lose weight, because I think a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of mothers, will think, wow, this is great, I can actually stay in the house and get fit, and play something fun at the same time, that's really simple and just easy to use. Because, I mean, but also, this thing could also be used in a combination with the Wiimote and the Nunchuck to immerse you into games even further. Like, for example, in a third or first-person shooter, if you're in a corner, you lean to one side, you could lean around the corner. So, I mean, that's just one thing you could use it for. There's just so many, there's like 101 uses for this thing, basically, and to me it's okay. It was bizarre when I first seen it. I thought, what the is this? But then once you sat there and then thought about it constructively, ideas started popping into my head about what it could be used for, and it just seems like a really clever move by Nintendo.
You don't think it's innovation for innovation's sake, do you?
No, I don't know. I mean, at first I thought, but then when I sat there and thought about the possibilities for it, there is a lot of potential for it.
Again, it's a time will tell. Only time will tell on it. And of course we've got the what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the Wii Wheel. Finally, it's again a housing for your Wii remote that turns it into a steering wheel. That I think did they say that was being packaged with Mario Kart?
Yep, Mario Kart when it does eventually get released, it will be package free, no charge at all. I think if you go out now to any shop, there probably is some sort of cheap knockoff that you can buy that's a Joytech. Well, Joytech are a good make, I must admit, but you can buy something very similar. But the one that's come with Nintendo is a very nice glossy finish, and it's got a Nintendo thing on the back of it and everything. And it's got some rubber around it, so it makes it very soft. And it's like if your hands get sweaty, it kind of it's like it takes the resistance of all the sweat away from it. If you're playing for long periods of time. I think if it's free, then there's no harm done. It's just a bit of plastic, but it just adds again a little bit more immersion to your racing game. Like with the wireless Xbox 360, steering wheel with the gears. Yeah, I think it's a nice little thing.
The little sneaky thing about, I know it's not a Wii, but I'll just go into this. The sneaky thing about the wireless 360 wheel is the fact that, yes, it is wireless, but it isn't. It's wireless to your console, but if you want the rumble feature in it, you actually have to plug it into the wall, which is a bit of a con, really.
And then it's like, what, it's $150 or something? It's
very expensive, and you still have to plug it into the wall, so it's a bit of a con calling it wireless. I mean, that is the one good thing about the Wii, that all their peripherals are wireless. The Wii Fit Pad, the blaster, the wheel, they are. You don't need to plug them in, which is good.
And don't forget Guitar Hero 3 as well, because that'll have a wireless Wii. So basically, what you do is that you just put the Wii controller into the guitar itself, and it's completely wireless, and it's got some sort of motion sensitive, so that when you pluck the strings, it's like, I don't know, it's just it just kind of picks up your finger movements.
I'm interested in seeing how Guitar Hero 3 is going to work for the Wii. I think that could be very interesting.
Yeah, it could be absolute utter crap, but then again, it might be, if the effort's put into it, then yeah, it could be interesting.
Yes, it's another week where we've mentioned Guitar Hero. I'm going to have to impose a moratorium on Guitar Hero and Rock Band, I think. Just a good job Toz isn't here. Alright, and before we finish up on the Wii, the other thing we've got to talk about, I guess, is the online portion of the Wii. Jason, the friends code is obviously a problem with the Wii, isn't it?
Yes and no. I mean, from my standpoint, it's essentially, yeah, it's not, I mean, at first I thought it was more like a security thing. And then, I thought, yeah, you've got to put a code in every single time. But in fact, if anyone that hasn't that doesn't have a Wii or hasn't bought Mario Strikers for the Wii, what you do is you just put the code in once, and once it's registered, it registers it once. So therefore, when you have any other online game in the future, there's a little bit of memory on your drive, where it stores all your data. It basically copies that onto the other game. Say, for example, I don't know, like Battalion Wars 2, when that eventually comes out, that will save that onto it automatically, and it will grab that little bit of data, and then you just automatically into the game with your with your Mii, and then you're away. But I mean, from the point of when you're using the codes, it does seem like if you're gonna, like for any other game, especially if you're gonna use, say for example, AndiD for the Wii, which came out not too long ago, and that had this online editor system where you had to use a friend code in order to sort of after you made a level that you designed within the game, you had to put in that person's code in order to send the level to that person, and then therefore you had to and then that person had to send their code to you. It's very confusing, and then so that therefore the level could be sent back to the person you want to send it to in the first place. So it just made it into one really really unnecessary sequence of events that just really buggered the whole system up. But yeah, I do agree that it is a bit of a pain in the arse, but at the same time, it's just Nintendo's way of saying we are doing things differently. And because, as you know, Nintendo don't always want to try and copy things, and they're very strong with that, being Japanese, and they don't really like to, take on anybody's other ideas. They always try to do things their own way, even if it isn't, the best way, so to speak.
I mean, it probably could benefit from I guess, kind of a friends list style system would help. I mean, one of the advantages of playing live is the fact if you're in a game and you play with someone and they're good, you can add them to your friends list quite simply, whereas you can't really do that so easily with the Wii with the friends code.
Yeah, I mean, at least the Wii, Wii's aren't, getting the red ring of death,
That's true. That's true.
Yes, the infamous red ring of death. So that it would the reliability of the 360 has got to be a topic for a future show, I'm afraid.
It is, yeah.
Because it's something you just can't ignore. Alright guys, so then I'll close up this by saying, what would you like to see the Wii do in future that can probably help it?
Well, first of all, a better online service. I mean, okay, it's a free online service. We all know that, and it gets to the point where, of course, where we see it, it is getting a bit better with obviously Mario Strikers, and it's you can play random people online. And that's a nice feature. Obviously, after you put your friend code in, and then you can play random people all the time. But you can actually add people to a list within the game itself. But of course, that doesn't make it quite like Xbox, where you can just invite any random person, or that you can add. You have to actually know that person in order to add them. So that still makes a bit of a problem. So if they fix that, that would really make it a bit more easy on the online gaming side of things. But yeah, I mean, any of you guys, any other thoughts on the Wii's problems?
I just want the big, more games. I mean, the big games, Mario, Metroid, Mario Kart. They need to come out. I'm ready for them now.
Yeah, and gamers unfortunately don't have the reputation of perhaps being so patient or forgiving either. We're not a very forgiving bunch, really. You screw up and we let you know. Hence the show title, Cranky Gamers.
So, any other last thoughts on the Wii's to-do list, so to speak.
We-do list, yes.
I think they need to work with third party better with as far as the controls go for the the Wiimote, because Call of Duty 3 on the Wii was awful. Red Steel was awful. As far first person shooters, they shouldn't they just control really, really bad. And Nintendo can afford to send somebody over there to work with them when they're making the game, so the controls will at least be a little better.
The controls for a first-person shooter with the Wii should be very fluid and very intuitive, but Red Steel didn't really carry that off, which is a shame.
But it's Metroid, it's first party. Look, it seems to play really and control really, really smoothly.
But like you said, it's a first-party game, so they've got the in-house team and should be very good at doing with the controls.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that we can all be with the confidence to say that that Metroid Prime 3 Corruption will have a great control system, and probably will show that. Well, at the moment, Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition is probably the only game on the Wii that actually proves that shooters of any kind can work well. And I think anyone, in fact, I think yourself, Dorkfish, you should check that. Even if you have played the game before, it's definitely worth checking out because there's some bonus content on it. And yeah, the controls work really well. And of course, yeah, with Metro 3 Corruption, I think it will really show that that like a really in-depth FPS, like a proper FPS game, can work, because obviously it's got. I think they say something like that it has like a PC feel, almost like with the mouse, because you have all these different settings that you can toggle it with, but it's got this PC mode that you can go into, and it just really feels natural. So hopefully that should solve the problems of the Wii's bounding box thing, where you're pointing to one side and it's like, oh no, turning around very, very fast, and it's like, oh, can't point for but hey, what can you do?
Yeah, great that Res 4 is showing them what you can do, but the trouble is Res 4. It's an old game just done up again, which is a shame. We should be seeing new titles, new games doing this. It shouldn't be down to Resident Evil 4 to go, look, you can do this. Fair enough, they've done it brilliantly, and Res 4 is a fantastic game, and I'm not going to argue that. I still play that to this day on my GameCube, and that's the only version you should have without playing the Wii version, is the GameCube version. Forget the PS2 version, it's rubbish. But it's a shame that it's been down to Resident Evil 4 to show them what it can do. It should have been Red Steel should have been going, this is how you do it. Not down to Res 4, or waiting for Metroid.
Red Steel was good, it's just that, yeah, the control let it down a bit, because there was a lot of times where I felt as if I wasn't really that much in control, and it actually cost me a lot of deaths just because it wouldn't point in the right direction. Some days, I don't know if you've noticed, in fact, anyone who's played Red Steel, I think, for any period of time will find that, if you point in the centre of the screen and you're moving forward, the wobby times where it's got this glitch where it points right down to the floor, and you spin like 360 all the time, and then you just can't get, and then you have to shake the Wiimote.
Oh, that was a glitch. I just thought I was just controlling the game really poorly.
And it just goes out completely whack, and you die. When that's happening, and you have no control over it, and that's just basically something to do with the geometry of the pointer and the actual schematics of the game telling it where to point, and it's not really that well programmed. But again, it's just lazy programming on the side of Ubisoft, because Red Steel was a great game, and it was a pretty decent shooter, and it had some nice sword fights, but which of course weren't the greatest, but they were pretty fun. But but it's just a shame that, again, it's just another one of those cases where it was like a missed opportunity for another pretty decent game, like of course Medal of Honor, Vanguard as well for the Wii. Again, that was screwed up terribly, I might add. But I won't go into that because that was an absolute abomination to everything that's good in the FPS world. But I'll leave it there.
Okay, and one more thing that I think will help the Wii, and I'm actually, folks, I'm on my knees for this. I'm putting my hands together and I'm begging, please, LucasArts, let's have a lightsaber game. Come on. You know it'd work.
Yes, for f***'s sake, give us a game where you have a lightsaber, you're in first-person view, you are in one-to-one control with the lightsaber, and you can pull off your own kick-ass style, Jedi moves, like, vroom, vroom, giving it all that, and, just give us it,
This is how I see the first half an hour of any lightsaber game going on the Wii. First 15 minutes, you would just be hitting the A button, whichever button turns it on and off again, won't you? Zhun, zhun. You do that for about 15 minutes and go, cool. And then you'll just spend the next 15 minutes waving it, won't you? Whoom, whoom, whoom. That'll be it. That could just be the game itself. You could combine it with a Wii Fit pad and have some more in there, couldn't you? You could be, it'll know when you're crouching and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, you're leaning to one, or trying to evade attacks. You could lean to one side, or crouch. Yeah, you could do that, I guess. But yeah, give us a Star Wars game that's like, proper, like in control of the lightsaber.
And when we say a Star Wars game, we do not mean Rogue Squadron 7. We want a lightsaber game.
Although let's be fair, Rogue Squadron 2 was brilliant for the GameCube. But yeah, give us a proper Star Wars game this time. Proper Star Wars game, or even if it's something like like that PC game, KOTOR 2, something along those lines or even Jedi Knight Academy, where you're in this like arena and you just like fighting horde after horde. Even that, okay, it might not be like a story, but at least if you put the controls in, it would make it a hell of a lot of fun just chopping up dudes in the most gory ways possible with finishers and even have like 2 emotes and do like friggin' dual lightsaber battles. Like whoa, just go all out. Or what if you had like 4 arms? You could do like General Grievous with like 4 lightsabers. That'd be, obviously you couldn't really do that because obviously you wouldn't have friggin' 4 arms. But still, it'd be kind of fun if like one person would like get below you and just have like mimic like your hand movements and trying to go like in silhouettes. But I guess it would be a little bit too far taking it. But then, don't forget, you could always use the nunchuck for your force powers. So it's like if you want to try and like, strangle someone with the dark side, the force, like you drag up the nunchuck and it strangles them. It's like you pull them like off the ground. It's like you twist it and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and yeah. That'd be awesome.
Anybody get the feeling Jason will be going over to the dark side?
Oh yes, Darth Maul.
I think something like that could make games like Dynasty Warriors more interesting, like on the Wii. From a put it in a first-person perspective. Have the Wii remote be your sword.
Well, it's funny you mention that actually, because there is in fact a game coming out for the Wii that is in fact Dynasty Warriors, and it's called Dynasty Warriors Katana.
And it's first-person, like first-person perspective, and
yeah, first-person adventure.
Well, here's a thought. How about Oblivion on the Wii with the Wii remote?
Oh boy.
That is a first-person RPG, alright. I'm not sure how they work some of the magic and stuff, but that could work interestingly.
Wow, that could be an absolute dog's bollocks. Oh yes, that would be nice.
Yeah, that will be fun.
Well, let's leave Nintendo and the Wii behind. Hopefully we can give you some food for thought there. As you may have noticed, Toz isn't with us this week. He's gone to watch Derby County play Espanyol down at the, I was going to say the baseball ground, but that's not right. Well, whichever the ground Derby County play at, the name escapes me right now, and being a Forest fan, I really couldn't care. Toz has sent in his rant of the week, so take it away, Toz, with your rant of the week.
Hi, yeah, thanks, Kid, for that. And here's Toz's rant of the week. If our listeners didn't realise, the very, very big news breaking this week was the announcement that Call of Duty 4 multiplayer beta was going to be US only. Well, as you can imagine, that caused complete mayhem. And as of my recording today, there was a slight retraction. The rumour mill has then carried on, where they're now saying, yes, it's going to be initially US only, then they're going to roll it out to the rest of the world when they've sorted it out. Now, they're not saying what they've got to sort out. They're not even saying why it's US only to start with. Quite simply, the rant of the week is this is probably the worst news I've heard for the 360 owners since I've had a 360. It's not acceptable. Quite simply, you either give it to the world straight away or you don't bother. You just cannot do this. I mean, to be honest, it's going to damage their sales, and to be quite frank, I'm pleased because I made the decision as soon as I heard the news. Me personally, although the game looks truly stunning, as we well know, and it's probably one of the most anticipated titles of this year, I will not be buying that game if the beta is not released worldwide. Yes, might sound pedantic, might sound a bit petty, but no, not acceptable. I've seen posts on some forums stating words such as, well, they've got technical issues. It's not got long to come out. Well, I'll just put something in our listeners' ears for a minute. 3 days ago was a release of MotoGP 08 on the Xbox Marketplace demos. That, to my astounding belief, was a 16-player multiplayer, gave us 2 tracks, and to be quite honest, within 2 minutes of me picking that game up, and I accidentally clicked multiplayer, as we all know, very, very rare to get multiplayer in demos online, I was astounded it let me in. My first game was online, and I then sat and basically played it for the next 4.5 hours. Now, simply put, I'm not buying where they're telling us it's technical issues, it's this, it's that. Rubbish. MotoGP is weeks away from release, and basically it's a 16-player demo, multiplayer online, out the box, on the marketplace, no questions. So, quite simply, if they do not release this worldwide, I think it's got to be one of the worst decisions I've ever seen yet on the Xbox. They just can't do it. And what makes me even more weary of this latest statement of, well, it's not US only, we are going to release it. I honestly believe they've said that because there's been the biggest kick-up since Guitar Hero downloadable content, my last week's rant of the week. And I've got one thing to say about this. I honestly still do not believe it will come out worldwide. The game is not long coming out to retail. So they're going to try and tell us now, after announcing it already, that it's USA only. But now they want to say, oh, wait a minute, it's not USA only, we are going to bring it out later. No, not buying it. It's not long to be released. I'm telling you now, Europe, the UK, Canada will not see this beta. And I've also found out by visiting the site, I'm not giving the address out because I just don't want to. Quite simply, I'm that infuriated about it. Basically, they've also said that there's entrances by some token and questions. I mean, come on. I mean, a beta is the word beta in gaming terms means quite simply you have a game ready that you have already stress tested in-house. It's handled that. You now want to send it to the masses to do the ultimate stress test before retail. So what's this token, 3 questions and you might get the beta? Well, I'm sorry. You either give the beta to everybody who wants access to it, or don't bother. Keep testing it in-house. Anyway, that's my rant of the week. As you can see, touchy subject. Probably bring more about this either in next week's show or very soon after. So yeah, that's Toz's rant of the week. So see you next week. Bye.
Thanks, Toz, for your rant of the week there. Alright, moving on. This is a new segment for the show. This is called Cranky Gamers Any Other Business. This is a bit where our cranky gamers can talk about anything that's got on their nerves this week. So let's throw this one over to Dork. Has anything been making you cranky this week?
Grand Theft Auto getting delayed was, well, it didn't really make me that mad, but it seemed to make a lot of people pretty angry. I started school this week. That's made me quite cranky.
As ever. And your alarm clock not working.
Yeah, that hasn't helped.
Fans of the show, we were actually recording this Sunday instead of Saturday because Dork's alarm clock doesn't seem to wake him up. The only reason he's appeared on the show was I threatened to send Nelson Rodriguez around to his house as a strippogram.
Oh my god. Oh.
Alright then, Jason, has anything been making you cranky this week?
Other than the fact that if I've got any job now, it's obviously that's pretty time consuming because my job is pretty much a courier and you're doing long distance driving and you're pretty much picking up and delivering very heavy packages in the form of American, not to put the pun in or be disrespectful or anything, but very large, oversized, stupidly oversized fridge freezers. Now, when you deliver a fridge freezer, you think, oh, okay, you've got a winch for it, but it doesn't matter if you even got a winch or if you have wheels to pull it in. It weighs like half a ton, like a mini car. It's just it kills you trying to deliver these things. I'm telling you, stop ordering American-style size fridge freezers, please, because I don't want to be on the other end of it, and I don't have to drop it on my foot or, if the worst, smash it. So yeah, please do not order them anymore. If anyone's listening who's thinking about ordering one from the company, which I will not disclose on this podcast, but yeah, please do not do that anymore. And yeah, try and make them more manageable packages that can be delivered within reason.
Alright, and here's my crank. This is where the idea came from. Last Sunday, I went to see Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix at a local multiplex cinema. And sitting there, during the adverts, a thing for Ratatouille popped up. I thought, oh, it's just going to be an advert for the movie. But no, it wasn't. It was on about piracy. Now, I am fed up of watching a DVD or going to the cinema and then basically automatically assuming that I'm a pirate and I've stolen it. And this is really, really f***ing me off. Alright, I've just got a couple of shout-outs I want to do this week because some friends have left us an iTunes review. Well, you'll only get to see them if you're on the American store, unfortunately, but I want to say thank you to Rockstar Aviator, Dark DJ, and Falonzo for giving us the kind words on the iTunes. Meat Shield! Yes, we know Falonzo, and we'd just like to say, hello Falonzo, to our Meat Shield, and congratulations on baby number 4. Alright, they left us a very nice iTunes review, and any of you out there would like to go and leave us an iTunes review, we'll probably give you a shout-out on the show as well. So, thanks guys, thank you very much. I want to thank, joining me this week, Dorkfish, eventually showing up.
You took your time, didn't you? You took your bloody time.
I apologize for not being able to make it yesterday, but...
I mean it. I will send Nelson Rodriguez round to your house as a strippogram.
No, good God. There's plenty of other podcast hosts that you could send besides Nelson.
Yes, but none as funny as Nelson. And those of you wondering who the hell Nelson Rodriguez is, if you'd like to check out the podcast Achievement Junkies, he's the host there with the lovely Natalie Souza, so that might explain the joke a little bit more. And I also want to thank Jason for joining us from the Weeds podcast.
Thank you. It's happy to be here. It's great.
And once again, I've been your host, Kid Dogg. I want to thank you all for listening to the show. I know it's been a bit of a long one, and there's been quite a few bleeps, so hopefully we'll calm it down for next time. I just want to add that you can get in touch with us by emailing us at crankygamersuk@googlemail.com. That's crankygamersuk, all one word, at googlemail.com. And until next time, this is Kid Dogg saying, stay cranky.
Goodbye, my fellow brothers. Get on the chopper!